welcome to Business24 on NTA News 24. Joining me today is Chimobi Walter and Nanji. He will be spicing the program up as my co-presenter. It should be quite exciting.
Thanks, Sophie, and I look forward to that. Welcome to Business24, coming to you as usual from the Central Business District, Abuja. We have an interesting package ahead.
Yes, Chimobi, the United Kingdom stirred the waters in business circles recently with the announcement of the pre-approval of the Naira as a currency for trade and investment.
Now, what exactly does that mean, especially given the fact that they are our traditional business partners? We will look at that.
Still on financing, you may have heard of the Osusu or the Agile system. Chimobi, you remember that there's a man or a woman that usually goes around the markets to collect this daily contribution.
Yes, Sophie, they are still very much around, and it was a pretty effective system of saving for petty businesses. I understand that the level has changed, though, as microfinance banks have come into the business.
Oh, they have, and they're also giving it a modern touch. But what is it that they are doing to enhance access to finance? We'll be looking at that.
Then there is the famous Made in Aba phenomenon. A fair on Made in Aba products has been going on in Abuja, and so we went there to see what they are doing to raise Nigeria's manufacturing base.
This is, of course, critical to Nigerians' goal of diversifying the economy. Made in Aba continues to be an evolving phenomenon, and small and medium enterprises are doing interesting things.
We will also feature some of our regular segments from Young Entrepreneur and the Export segment.
Quite a package. We'll get started right after this break.
Welcome back. The volume of trade between the UK and Nigeria runs back several centuries and runs into several billions of pounds or dollars, some say trillions of naira, with the current exchange rate.
It is certainly that much, as the UK has been Nigeria's foremost business partners. Flights from Nigeria to the UK are always full, as Nigerians tend to take London as their second home for obvious purposes.
So Nigerians do spend a lot in the UK for diverse purposes, but much of it on business. This is why a recent announcement that the Naira could be used for trade and finance in the UK caught the attention of the business community.
So we asked Vivian Idepefo to find out what exactly this will be to the ease of doing businesses in both countries.
The United Kingdom is one of Nigeria's major trading partners, and that is understandable because of the historic ties between both nations. The paternal ties arising from colonialism developed the strong business connection, which explains the huge volume of trade between both countries. Currently, machinery, heavy equipment, consumer goods and petroleum, as well as agricultural products, form the bulk of trade between the two countries. The volume of trade is expected to exceed 7.7 trillion naira, or 20 billion pounds, by the year 2020, experts predict. However, recurring challenges with foreign exchange has often hampered the capacity of businesses from the Nigerian end from making the most of the increasing trade opportunities. This is why there is some interest in the recent approval announced by the United Kingdom's Export Finance Office of a pre-approval for the use of Nigeria's currency, the Naira, for trade and project finance between both countries. Analysts believe that this is to ensure that the UK harvests opportunities that could come from the Brexit, but what is in it for Nigerian businesses? Mr. Rislanuddin Mohammed is a former banker and an investment consultant.
It is a means of consolidating a friendly relationship. So it is not a one-way traffic. It is not as if, as far as I'm concerned, it's not as if the UK government or UK authorities are doing any favor to Nigeria. They are trying to consolidate on existing relationship, existing friendship. So all they are doing is to ensure that they ring-fenced existing relationship and make it to work stronger. Of course, in that process, it has favored Nigeria. Now we can be able to negotiate trade in our currency, pending the time when the sterling or dollar will be available to finally negotiate the trade. So it is positive for both countries.
This new deal, however, comes with some conditions which experts fear could increase the country's debt burden, as every transaction automatically invokes a sovereign guarantee on the part of the government. Uche Uwaleke is an associate professor of business administration with the Nasarawa State University.
We have to watch against the danger of dumping so that not everything is brought in here, since they are going to be cheaper and now we can now buy in Naira. So the dumping challenge is there. The impact on public debt is also there. We should also ensure that the type of financing that is coming in are the type that will that qualifies as foreign direct investments and the type that can create jobs. And again, those investments or those projects are not the ones that will damage the environment or that will lead to abuse of human rights.
For Mr. Charles Udora, opportunities abound, but integrity is key, as well as maintaining a balance of trade via exports.
If the goods you're giving to the UK person is fake, is substandard, he will not buy. And so that market will die. So yes, it's a potential opportunity for businesses in Nigeria on condition that we will standardize our products and our measures and become honest. When we say we are delivering 20 tons, we are delivering 20 tons, not 15. When we say that we are delivering high quality, we are delivering high quality, not mixing them with low quality.
Many businesses will be watching to see how this new decision of the United Kingdom's Export Finance Office actually works out in view of the challenges with sourcing foreign exchange. For Business24, Vivian Itekwefo.
I'm sure there will be much more details in the days ahead on how this proposal will work out. We will keep an eye on that.
One thing that we know is working out, and much better too, is the traditional thrift savings scheme in Nigeria. They are in fact experiencing strategic innovations without removing the rather informal character of the operation.
Apart from providing a viable platform for savings, these schemes are filling the financing gap for small businesses, appealing trends for existing customers. Sophie went to some markets in Abuja to see how this is impacting on these small businesses.
Depending on how old you are, you may recall a phenomenon that used to be called the Baba Ajo, who used to go round with a bag and notebook collecting daily contributions from traders. That traditional thrift system still exists in some of our societies, but the business is being given a modern edge by financial institutions to the benefit of all the parties involved. I have been talking with some of the interested parties. It is common to see small contributing savings schemes where traders contribute a daily portion of their trading profits all over Nigeria. In Yoruba language, these savings schemes are called Ajo, while in the north it is called Adashi, and in the east, Isusu. This group savings serve as lifesavers in emergencies and also acts as a primitive saving culture for their businesses, as observed by AJK and his fellow traders at Wuse Markets in Abuja.
The first travel I traveled to Dubai 2006, I started from daily contribution because my dream is to travel to Dubai during 2006, and I started doing daily contribution, saving 5,000 naira on daily basis. Within 6-8 months, I gathered all and traveled with it to Dubai.
If I have some money, something to spend anyhow, I will budget of say to pay of that contribute. If they come every day, I normally pay 5,000 every day. Sometimes if I have 3,000, I will be struggle to add more 2,000 so that I will complete. But to say I'm not doing that contribute now, I will use money as I want.
The institution realized its profitability. It started with the defunct People's Bank, and now microfinance banks are giving it a modern touch. It has become a source of financing for small traders who are extended loans through the schemes.
Microfinance sector will go to those members of the thrift society to collect their money, the money they generate on a daily basis. You know, thrifts, they are the people that are at lower pyramid in the financial sector. So we collect money, their daily savings from them, and then when they want loan, they'll still come back to the bank to collect loan.
Contrary to the early forms which operated on a fixed term deposit strategy.
That line of this in the if you check in those days, they have a card where they normally mark. So if you don't get to that particular day, invariably you cannot withdraw. So it's more of like it's a fixed thing, and you have a particular amount that this person saves with you, and there are charges too. Like maybe in the first day of your making deposits, the person that is collecting that money says, I own the first payment for the month. Then the rest of the ones for the month is now yours. So the difference basically within then and now is that from the first day you are saving, it's your money. You don't need to tell this person that I need to come and collect. You can just walk into the bank at any time and pick your money that you have. So that is basically difference within what you have in those days and now.
Indeed, AGK and fellow traders are deriving immense benefit from this new phase of the thrift savings life cycle. It may not be a goodbye after all for Babajo and his likes, but just that more investors are coming into the business, and that should be good for small businesses. In Abuja, Sophie Aigbomia for Business24. Chimobi, I found that a lot of money is generated from these simple businesses, and they also get support with less bureaucracy.
Yes, I'm sure the involvement of the microfinance banks also mitigate the risk of having one Baba Ojo running away with our contributions. Anyways, talking about running away, but this time I will say runaway success, is the story of Made in Aba products.
Yes, there have been a showcase of their products in Abuja, from the shoes to the garments. But that was not what attracted Chimobi when he went there. It was rather the fabrication of solar inverters.
Sophia, you should understand that with the huge power problem Nigeria is confronting, that will catch my eye. It has been identified as the greatest obstacle to manufacturing.
Chimobi met up with the entrepreneurs, tapping into the lucrative solar power businesses.
Continent has not used this resource optimally. So, of the 48 sub-Saharan nations with a total population of about 750 million generate just about the same proportion of power as Spain, with a population of only about 50 million. Though the sun shines brightest here, and yet the people cry out for lack of power. The Nigerian situation is more pathetic, as the country's industrialization has virtually been frustrated by inadequate power. Technology has now evolved to harness the power from the sun, and it is mostly foreign, but there is silver lining in the cloud with the initiatives of some Nigerian fabricators. Ephraim Eke is an electronic engineer from the Institute of Management and Technology, IMT, Enugu. He has been working on solutions to the power problems, and these are his solutions: power inverters, UPS machines, and high-powered industrial battery charger machines that can provide electricity to millions of Nigerians. Ephraim has trained about 30 persons in the fabrication and construction of these in the last 25 years.
I started the engineering work at Fabrica 25 years ago. Using small materials now to develop a larger scale, not like this, developing it in larger scale, training some printing shape, bringing it to operation, do it yourself. I have a lot of school leavers who graduates, and other engineering works, who studied with me. So when they finish, they are learning the work, they start on their own.
80% of the components used in the fabrication of the solar power inverters are locally sourced in Nigeria for the Nigerian market. Solar power is clean and renewable energy, which makes these fabrications more attractive.
15 years warranty, because our products is rugged, tested here in Nigeria, for a longer time, you know. So giving people who they want, you know, it's not like the China or the, you know, because we here in Nigeria, we need something that is, you know, it's very robotic, you know.
Operational manager of the company, Udechukwu Okonkwo, says the production capacity of the workers is hampered by lack of appropriate machinery. He believes that the creation of industrial hubs will facilitate production.
Mechanically, we fabricate, we weld by ourselves, find metals, couple them together, weld them together, make sure that it can carry the weight of our transformers. So we check all those things. So we say 70% manually.
A growing number of young engineers, entrepreneurs and investors are exploring the potential in renewable energy. Ephraim Eke and his associates are joining this tribe in the desperate effort to light up the country. Their fabrications may be basic, but they are effective and reliable with local guarantee. The rough edges will obviously be smoothened over time with increased production and refinement. The nation needs power to achieve its hope of industrial growth, and the sun is the best hope. In Abuja, Chimobi Walter Nnaji for Business 24. We're not done with the Made in Aba Fair. The shoe and garment industry is a multi-billion business, and Aba entrepreneurs have been striving to take a share of this huge market. They have done well at this as Aba continues to churn out products. Kunle Adeye saw some of them were on display at the fair.
Shoes and sandals of all sizes and for both gender, all manufactured locally. These are all made in Aba products, and it is proudly declared so on the label. The attitude is changing as 44-year-old Andrew Anya Etim, who was a major shoe importer for decades, confirms. The manufacturing of shoes has gone on for decades in Aba, but the economic downturn in the country compelled entrepreneurs like Andrew to consolidate local production. He has done this for the last 5 years, aided by modern machinery, which have enabled him to produce shoes of this quality.
Nigerians just have this idea that anything that is made in Nigeria, that the quality is not good enough. So what has been happening is that people who make good shoes, they are stamping Italy or Turkey on the shoes, and Nigerians will happily buy those shoes. But when you stamp that same shoe in Nigeria and bought 20,000 naira, stamp it made in Nigeria, stamp it made in Aba, stamp it made in Onitsha, that same Nigerian will be pricing it 2,000 naira.
37-year-old Michael Anya, HND student at Abia State Polytechnic Aba, also makes his daily living from shoe production. Business is good, he says, from local patronage and even exports. Michael says he imports some raw materials and the quality of his shoes can compare with any imported from Europe.
We supply shoe to other countries. Like myself, I have customers in Cameroon, in Africa, in Gabon, where I supply my shoe almost 3 times in a year.
Chiemela Uzoaro, on his part, uses local raw materials and his products are competitive.
The material what they use now the Nigerian material, like leather, Kano, now they produce leather. This Kaduna part, then they produce leather. Everything na Nigerian material what they use. Soul. Both of soul na Nigerian soul. What they use this soul now, this soul na Nigerian soul. You get so where they call Poco soul, Zeal.
Buyers who converge on the shoe stand at the trade fair believe they can proudly walk in Aba-made shoes.
This is the 5th year of this trade fair, and I must tell you that each year I see improvements. The quality of the shoes 3-4 years ago are not the same thing, and that is not to say there is no room for improvement.
I've been their customer now for over 3 years. You understand? And most all the things I bought here till date I still wear them. Even though I wear most of them off every day, you know, but they're still up to taste.
The Abia State government has supported the industry substantially. Governor Okeze Ikpeazu took some shoe manufacturers to Turkey to learn contemporary skills in shoemaking. The federal government, in recognition of the Made in Aba phenomenon, also launched a trade hub in Aba. The town is a major hub for small and medium entrepreneurs, which Nigeria needs to grow her economy. Kunle Adeyeye for Business24.
Interesting products continue to be made in Aba, which is becoming Nigeria's manufacturing hub. I'm sure Business24 will do much more in Aba in the days ahead.
Definitely, Sophie. But for now, let us turn our attention to a young Nigerian doing amazing things. His name is Alexander Oputa, and Ronami brings us the interesting story and designs of this young man.
Tuba Arts Nigeria is the brainchild of Alexander Charles Oputa Jr. Today on Young Entrepreneur, we'll catch up with the CEO and creative director as he talks us through how he started and some of the pitfalls of introducing a unique product like his to the Nigerian market.
If you have a good idea, it will always start, the process will always start on its own. You use your mind to start the process, at least to a point when somebody can see it and say, oh yeah, this is a good business investment, let me put my money in it.
Do not be deceived by his fancy suit. Mr. Oputa gets down and dirty as well, as he shows us how to create one of Tuba Art's signature stools. This is what the finished stool looks like. He may make it look easy, but it faces some of the same difficulties others in the furniture making business face. He has encouraging words for others trying to create a niche for themselves in the Nigerian market.
You understand? So it's hard, but you just keep on doing it. If you feel that this is what you want to do, you know that this is what you want to do. By the time you reach that point where it has to be food or materials, and you pick materials, you know that you're already taking away. You understand? So things like that. Yeah, you just do it for the love of it and hope that somebody loves what you do and appreciates it. Like an artist, how you can appreciate an artist is just buying his stuff.
Many young Nigerians are innovating and expanding the frontiers of businesses for those interested in export. One man who can help them is our in-house expert on export, Femi Boyede. As usual, he has a compelling tips on export business.
Export is actually a journey. It is not a destination. It's a process. And that process actually starts from the selection of the product that you want to export. Therefore, part of your competitiveness tips is actually dependent on the content and the detail of your homework. Your homework starts, maybe now that we are all internet savvy, from internet research. But you also have trade support institutions. The Nigeria Export Promotion Council will be a very advisable first port of call. Of course, you go to Nexim, you go to commercial banks and what have you. We've talked about them on this program before. But it is important for you to understand that you can only be competitive to the level of the homework that you have done by visiting some of these agencies. I understand that the NEPC has actually redesignated its zonal offices as export assistance centers.
Next is the weekly review of the capital market. How did the market fare?
In recent times, there have been greater capital inflows into this economy via foreign portfolio investors who have shown greater interest in our federal government issued debt instruments and corporate Eurobonds. Now, these investors take advantage of the transparency and the fluid nature of transaction execution that FMDQ brings on board to bring in additional inflows to this economy. So the economy is a lot better. So if you check in the last 6 months, you see that we have had surplus of capital, of inflows to buy financial assets, Nigerian issued financial assets. That is coming on the backbone of the confidence boosting measures FMDQ and the likes are bringing to the debt market. CBN have what we call an exchange rate window, which is a foreign investors exporters exchange window. That window is almost floating. It's a floating exchange regime. Floating, they find that the market mechanism determines the exchange rate closing for the day. So the forces of demand and the supply is what drives that window. That particular window have helped this economy to have a convergence of rates now between the parallel market and what happens on the official window.
And that's our show for this week. I hope you found it quite profitable. I am Sophie Aibumia.
And I am Chimobi Walter Naji. Thanks for watching. Let's do it next week.
Bye-bye.